I don't know if any of you saw this, but there's a survey out today that purports to show a hefty majority of homeowners are plain old bummed out. Not only about housing, but their housing and their houses. Most of the view that those homes won't budge in value for years to come. Years. To real estate superstar Dani Babb on whether this could destroy her livelihood. Dani is also co-author of the mega bestseller, Finding Foreclosures. So, Dani, you're not buying this study, right?
No, I'm not. This study is bogus and statistically invalid. First of all, it was done with around 1,000 participants, which is fine as long as they're representative of the population. But they aren't. Only about 770 actually own a home. The rest are responding on speculation.
Okay, so they're essentially saying that they don't see anything changing. Even if you argue that the methodology is specious, it's telling you something about how bummed out they are. What do you make of that?
No, I don't think it's telling us something about how bummed out they are. I think that what they're doing is just regurgitating what the media and what politicians are talking about in an election year.
So you think there's a great difference between what they collectively think the country is doing and what they're doing? Because I thought this study showed they feel they're not making progress.
They feel that, according to the study, that in the next couple of years, their homes probably won't inch up.
Do you agree with that?
In some areas, yeah, absolutely.
What are the areas where you won't have much?
South Florida, some areas of Nevada and Arizona. Yeah, absolutely.
So the hot markets remain cold and for years to come?
I wouldn't say for years to come, but
2 years, that's what this
is. A couple of years, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so play this out. If this is true, if there's a sort of a justified bumming out in these hot markets, they tend to lead the nation a lot of the time. So there are going to be new hot markets that take their place? We
already are seeing new hot markets. We're seeing areas in Oregon and Washington, Utah and Idaho, the places where the boomers are moving to as they retire. Those will become the new hot markets.
But the boomers have to sell their old places.
They do, but a lot of these boomers have so much equity, and they actually got a loan in the day when you had to put money down and pay down your mortgage. So they're not in the same position as these people.
But I thought boomers were leveraging up to the yin-yang.
That's not entirely the case, not from the studies that I've seen, no.
What have you seen?
I've seen that, for the most part, boomers are running between 70 and 80% equity. A majority of them, about 50%, actually own their home. So
70, 80%, I'm sorry, 70, 80% equity, what does that mean? That they owe only about 20% of the value of their home?
Of the value of their home, correct.
Go ahead,
right.
I'm sorry.
The other 50, about 50% of boomers who will retire in the next 10 years own their home outright or will by the time they retire. That's a significant amount of people.
Okay, so when you look at this whole housing thing, I've heard from people who are optimistic on it say it took us years to get into this froth. It'll take us years to get out. What do you make of that?
I think that in some areas it's going to take years where we've over-speculated and investors came in and overbought, overbuilt. But I think the majority of the nation as a whole are not in that position. I get thousands of emails from people a week asking what they should do. Most of them are not doomsdayers. They don't think the end of the world's coming and that we're about to have soup kitchens and every other day we can buy gasoline. Like I keep hearing people say about, you know, we're about to hit the next Great Depression. I don't think that most people believe that. I just think that there are some housing difficulties that will be worked out. You know, people are upset about gas prices, they're upset about various things. The same things, by the way, that for the Fed to correct have to adjust.
But would the industry be better off with these rescues that are being contemplated, whether you do what Hillary Clinton says and freeze teaser rates for 5 years, or you spend billions of dollars shoring up the 4 to 5% who are running late or foreclosing?
No, absolutely not. I think the Democrats' policy in general it will actually hurt housing long term. If we want the market to stabilize and demand and supply to equalize, we have to let the free market play it out. We cannot intervene.
Well, they say you let the free market play out, you're going to get millions thrown out of their homes.
That's absurd. First of all, we have about 120 million homes owned by people in the United States. 9 million of those people, so less than 9%, are actually their home is worth. That's it. So when you look at that, that's about the same percentage as subprime borrowers in foreclosure. Why isn't anybody like these people who are doing this study studying that correlation?
So a rescue would compound that.
A rescue
because
could
the 90+% of repair time are now being forced to pay for the distinct minority who are not.
That's right. How is a lender going to compensate for their income if they're not raising the rates or costs to get a refinance on everyone?
Okay, Dani, thank you very much. Always good seeing you.
You too.
Where are you based? You're based in California?
I'm based in California.
You're everywhere.
I try to be everywhere.
Dani Babb, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I bet you thought we had the newly crowned Miss USA on this show because she's incredibly hot. Well, that would be wrong and condescending and says volumes about how little you think of me. It is because Miss USA is a very good businesswoman. That's why I have her on. and that's why she is next. And enough with your filthy thoughts.